The angle's terrible for this video, and the lighting's not good. But you know what is good? The latest episode on 95 Adventures podcast with Red Bull Crash Ice athlete and Cirque du Soleil artist Dean Moriarty. Enjoy! There we go, Dean.
Here we go.
Here we go. Thanks for being on, man. This is really cool. I'm actually like telling you a little bit before, like a little awe of all the I guess what is it called now? What is it called? The crashed ice thing.
Now it's called ice cross downhill. It's like they tried to make it a sport. So yeah, so they can kind of like relate it to the ski cross and the snowboard cross. Now it's called ice cross downhill, and it's ran by this organization called ATSX, and that's like the organization that runs pretty much everything. So they run like all the subscriptions and that, so it's more like a formal thing, and that they become like a sport. But before it was just Red Bull Crash Ice, and it was like more of like an event and more of like kind of like a one-off. Like you do the event, everyone's happy, they make their like publicity, and we have fun, and now it's more of a sport.
Gotcha. And you took like a little bit of break from it, huh?
Yeah, so I was doing it for 3 years, and then I was doing really well in my last season. The last season, I actually took home my first big win in St. Paul. So I won in St. Paul, Minnesota, which is like a huge race, like 120,000 people at the race live, like almost bigger than the Super Bowl, pretty much, like about live audience.
Holy cow! There's that many people like watching.
Yeah, live at the race. There was 120,000 spectators at the race.
Was it like crazy loud? Were they all yelling and cheering? And
yeah, it was nuts. It was like mayhem, really big mayhem. So at the race, there's 120,000 spectators live, and then on TV it was like on Fox Sports 1, like all like the huge sports channels, and it would play for like weeks on weeks. After the fact, so we got a lot of publicity for that. But so I won in St. Paul, and then I came second in Ottawa, the next race, and then this opportunity came up with Cirque du Soleil to do ice ramps, and these ice ramps were like pretty crazy and like a different thing. So we were just originally going to test them, and then we actually ended up getting a job with Cirque du Soleil in a show doing ice ramps. So then I kind of took a break from crashed ice for 2 years, but it was like a well done break, I guess.
Is that Cirque du Soleil? So is that thing when I see you doing those little like you're doing like misty flips and different types of flips over the little like the gaps and stuff, kind of like a mega ramp sort of deal?
I wouldn't say it's like level of mega ramp. The only thing that's really sketchy about our ramps is that they have no middle, which for like a lot of people, like they need like a box jump would have a middle. So if you were to short it, you just land on top, land flat, like on the flat, and you're fine. Us, if we land on like in the middle, like we're like real badly hurt, you know. Like, so like we either land really deep or we land pretty perfect every time. So we got to be like very consistent. But no, I would compare it to the X Games mega ramp. I've done the mini mega and it's pretty gnarly, but it's just gnarly when you put all the things in effect. Like we have like natural ice on the ground, so they make the ice. Our ramps are synthetic. We're on ice skates, and we're doing like a mixture of like what I did before, like Red Bull Crash Ice, and a mix between like pro rollerblading, in the sense that we do like tricks like Misty, backflip, front flip, 720, 540, 360, you know, like all those tricks in a 7-minute act essentially.
It's so cool, and I'm like looking at it going, it's kind of intense that you do that on ice skates, because I just picked up playing all my rollerblading that I did when I was younger. I never did any hockey. I grew up in South Texas, like it was hot. There was no ice skating rink around, but I always loved hockey, watching it on TV, and then I moved away. Like I'm almost 40. I'll be 40, and I just played my first 2 seasons of actual hockey, which is a blast, man.
Yeah, so much fun.
But then I'm thinking about like doing the actual rollerblading tricks on ice.
I was actually like just talking to a rollerblader about like that specific thing, because our guy Marty only started ice skating 3 years ago. When we started, like he did like half a season of Crash Ice or a full season of Crash Ice, and then he started. But like when he started Crash Ice, he couldn't turn left. Like he had like a binary in his like head, like saying like, nope, I can't turn left. So like he was stuck not turning left, and there was like left turns on the Crash Ice track, and he would just like go into the boards, have to restart, kind of. It was so weird. But then he was young, so he picked up quick, and everything was fine. But skating is different. Transitioning from rollerblading, they kind of give like the outward push instead of like the real big push into the ice. So it takes some adjusting. So like that's what was awesome, having two people from different worlds. So me and my brother were from Crash Ice and hockey, and they were from really rollerblading background and tricks. So and one guy did like really street, and one guy did like more park. So it was like we got everything in there. So we taught like them how to skate, they taught us how to spin, how to flip, and we kind of like made this like superhuman act, you know, that like a mix of these guys and the ice. So
where does it like cool. So I guess explain a little bit, because I'm still like not even familiar, like the size of what you're dealing with, like the size of what you're going down, the gap you're jumping across, and how far the landing is afterwards, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so like in Crash Ice, we got up to like the speeds were really insane. Like we would get up to like 50 miles an hour, like at the most. So I think one guy went 52 was the most, which is like absurd. Like on skates, you get speed wobbles at like probably like 30 miles an hour. So like going 50 was just really insane, and you really couldn't deal with it. So it was really crazy. And the jumps were a lot bigger in Crash Ice. I would say like you'd have like a 20, 30 foot box jump, and it would be fine because you were going so fast. But in our Cirque du Soleil act, we jump pretty much from flat ice. Like we skate into the jumps and they'll be like 10 feet distance. So like the gap is 10 feet. The ramps are like another 3 feet. So you don't have a big margin of error. Like I said, like you literally can't short the jump because you would land in the middle and either toe pick or hit your shins. And you can't overshoot the jump, because I learned that. I broke my ankle like 6 months ago. I was going in way too fast. I overshot the jump, backflip, and I landed to flat. So I pretty much gapped. And you're probably like 15, 20 feet, like 15 feet in the air. So yeah, landing the flat isn't good. So you kind of got to be like on all the time and know your speeds and land on this like little margin of error. And then we also have this net jump, which is like, it's pretty much a spine, but it's separated like about 10 feet as well. So it's kind of like you have to take it at a high speed, and it's either you take the full ramp and you go really high and have that like apex to get in the quarter, or you kind of like pre-jump it and go a little lower, but then you have to put down your feet pretty fast. So it's like kind of like, and no one really wants to do it. Like every rollerblader that's come seen our show, or any crazy guy kind of who would be able to do it, we're like, no, we're not doing that. And it's, yeah.
No, because it's crazy. Like you just said, a 10 foot separation on a spine. It's the same exact kind of angles on it.
Yes, it doesn't make sense. Like it's like it should have never worked. Like we saw it at the start and we're like, this is not going to work. But then we did it into mats and we kind of got where you need to kick. But like I said, another margin of error that's pretty small, like where you need to leave the ramp. It's not like really at the end, but it's not at the beginning. So it's like when you're going in that fast, it's kind of like jump now, jump now, jump now. And once you do it so many times, then you get it. But you're always like, if you don't, you're coming up short, so you have to either like rip your skates right to your knees and like really suck up to like make the jump, or you have to like open up like you're landing like a gymnast and like land straight because you need to get your feet down because you're overshooting the jump. So it's like small margin of error there to make that jump.
Very small margin of error. What in the world got you into all of this?
Man, I don't know. I was like a kind of like a monkey as a kid, I would say. Like I have a twin brother. Yeah, so that helped like with the competitiveness growing up. We were like competing with each other, so that's how you get better. You just work with someone who's just as competitive as you and just as like on the same kind of path, I guess. And that's how you get better. Like I can do backflip here. Okay, I can do a backflip there. Yeah, I can do this here. and it's just like you kind of one up each other until like you either hit something really well or you just get injured. But we overcame all the injuries, you know, in our life, and we just kept going. And that's what also, like, you meet new people, and then they're just as good in another area, and then you have to compete with them. I always believed in, like, if you work with people way better than you, then you get to their level. If you work with people less than you, which kind of sucks to say, because if you work with people below you, then, I mean, you're going to stoop kind of to their level, which kind of, like, sucks. And you always want to be progressing yourself. So if you can get better together, then you can do that, you know? And that would be the...
But I guess it doesn't really suck to say that, because at the same time, the only way you're going to get better is by either seeing or being around. And really, in your mind, it lets you know that it's possible. Like, especially in what you do, it's like you need to see it happen and see the way they do it, visualize it, and you're like, oh, it's possible. I could do that. I know how to do that.
Exactly.
You know?
Like, we've had sessions where you're like 5 guys who really everyone's given it, and then you end up having the best session where like one guy landed 3 tricks that he's never done before, and one guy landed this trick that's world's first, and then one guy landed this trick that's this, and then you do a session with me and one friend, and then you're really like not in the mood, so then the session goes nowhere, and you really end up doing nothing. And you're just really doing tricks that you've done before, staying comfortable, still having fun, obviously, but it's really going nowhere. And you just like, you know it, and he knows it, and you're both looking at each other like, okay, we're not doing this today. It's not one of those days where we're going to do some new stuff, which is pretty fun. But it happens all the time. It happens all the time where you get stuck on tricks, or you have those days.
Well, it's, I mean, and I can share a little story, like being that little, like the guy who doesn't know very much, and like being the Grom, if you want to say, a lot of people may not know what that is. So it's like somebody who's terrible, a kook, somebody who's just starting out, like they don't know all the tricks or whatever. And that's intimidating when you're around somebody who's really, really good. Like when you're around a group of guys, whether it be pros or whatever, you're around them, like you're kind of intimidated. And as if you want to get better, though, you just kind of have to follow them around and go with them. And the X Games that I did, I was all stoked because it's coming down the valley. This is before YouTube, before anything. Like we had to order all of our stuff over the internet and wait for it. Over the phone, wait for it to come in. Like pick the video through magazines, all that good stuff. So we only knew the tricks that we saw on those videotapes, right?
Gotcha.
And then we get to the X Games, and here's Arlo and Champion and Matty Mance, and you name it, they're all there. And I'm standing on the ramp with all these guys I see in the video, and I'm like awestruck. And then I see him do tricks, and I'm like, I don't even know what that was. What did he just do? Like, there's no... I shouldn't even be up here right now, you know? And then, like, so... But I did it. I had a blast. I met him. I went street skating with several of them. Eric Shrine, Matty Mance, took him around. And we, as soon as that was done, it accelerated like 300%. I started doing all the same tricks they were doing in no time. And like just your level gets better the further you go. Like the more you're around it, the more you immerse yourself, even though you may not be good and you may be embarrassed. Those guys, that's how they learned. Like, you know.
Exactly.
You know.
Sure, exactly. And like you're saying with the video thing, like, I watch so much film. Like, learning off visual for me is really a big thing. So, like, watching YouTube videos, you can learn off so many people. Like, nowadays, like, man, the 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds are, like, absolutely insane at every extreme sport. Just because, like, I think they beat off, like, social media, and you see so much stuff out there, and it's like a big competition in the world, you know? It's like, that's what you have, but you have it online. And it's, like, such a good visual, and you do it. You see it, then you do it, and you land, and you're like, oh my god, it's like it's really, it gets that easy at some points where you land tricks right away, and you're like, I was never capable of this, and then you do it, and you're like, oh wow,
yeah, I got this.
It's possible to me in my mind, but now it is.
But did you ever have like that little thing tugging at, like that embarrassment or that tugging at you factor to just like step up, like when you were learning how to do stuff, or did you just, oh man, I want to go do that and just jump right in with them?
I mean, for me, I kind of had, like, in Crash Lights, I kind of got in, and I did, like, I was pretty comfortable on the track right away. Like, I didn't feel like I had that little, like, like a learning curve too hard. So I felt like I was good on the track, and then they kind of saw that and kind of like accepted it and kind of took me under their wing. And it was like a big brother sport kind of. So like I went like under these like bigger guys, like you said, you know, you saw these guys doing like these crazy runs and crazy fast, and I kind of like looked up to them, and I kind of was like, I can do this. So like at a young age, I was like just turning 18. I was the youngest in the sport at one point, and I like was like, yeah, I can get there quick. So then I learned off them. I talked to them. They were good friends of mine, even good friends till today. And yeah, that's exactly how I got better. Is you stick with the good guys and feed off their energy, feed off what they're doing, and that's how you get good quick. If you stay behind and try to do your own thing, like it was crazy. I remember like the mentality of people was like, I'm just gonna get down the track alive, kind of thing.
Were you going 50 miles an hour?
Get down alive, you know. And then our mentality in the top 10 was, how do I get faster, you know? How do I get down this track any faster than I already am? And falling wasn't even in your head. People would be like, I need to stay on my skates, because it was just hard to do that. But our mentality was never falling. Like, you never had that in your head. And if you didn't have that in your head, then you wouldn't fall. It was such a psych out kind of thing. Like, the ice quality wasn't even good, you know. It was chewed up ice. You can fall in a heartbeat, but if you weren't thinking fall, you were thinking go faster, do, you know, take the right line, do this, then you were in that mentality and you didn't fall. And I think it was a huge gap at the start. There was like a big skill gap with that aspect. Like, people always falling, and then people not falling and really excelling in the sport. So like between the top 5, there was like a huge gap, and then there'd be the rest of the group. There would only be 5 guys in the sport winning, and then it became 10, and now it's like 15, and now it's, you know, it's still around 15, 20. It's not that many, you know. Like in some sports, a huge gap of anyone can win kind of thing. I mean, you still see it, like Nigel Houston skateboarding, and like you know, Shaun White back in the day, or like you knew these people were gonna win, and it's always kind of been like that, I guess, in the sport, you know, learning curve.
But you said something. You said something really awesome, and it's something that I've carried with me with my stuff. But like, it's crazy how it works, and it bleeds over into like your everyday life. Is like that level of doubt. Like, you can't doubt it. If you start thinking about the negative, about missing or this or that, then you're gonna miss. Like, that just happens. In this sort of thing, like what you do as a profession, if you think that way, you're going to fall. Like, your head has to be clear, positive, and thinking about all the positive stuff. And then it happens. It happens that way, and you get in that zone. Like, but people can use that in everyday life. Like, I notice myself thinking like that all the time. Like, I always think about the successful part. I never think about the struggle in between. Like, this is going to hurt, or the miss, or whether it be with my job or whatever I'm doing. It doesn't matter. I always think about, oh, this is going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But how important it's so important, because in yours, you fall, you're gonna smash yourself, you're gonna break your ankle, you're gonna get hurt bad.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. If you don't think about it, it's the second you really go off track of your mind that you stop thinking about stuff and like not be kind of like on all the time, and you get too comfortable. That's when you obviously hurt yourself. So like for us, it's like at the end of our leg. So we'll have like a 12-week leg. Give me a second. We're gonna put that. Yeah.
There it is.
We're the X-Boys, you know. So our group in Cirque du Soleil is called the X-Boys. He's a pro rollerblader. So he was a rollerblader back in the day. What's his name? Aaron.
Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron.
I'm Kevin. Nice to meet you, brother.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, thanks for doing that with my brother over there.
So my boys, so we're actually in London right now. I'm in the UK, so it's like 12 p.m. my time right now. We're doing we're on Dancing on Ice. It was like a big UK TV show, like Dancing on Ice, and yeah, we did like one of our we ran like a part of our act as like a promotion video for them. And it went really well, and we really killed it. But then we start a UK tour now. So next week we'll be in Sheffield. We do 7 weeks, every week different city in the UK. So we really hit like, where do we go? We do Sheffield, Aberdeen, Glasgow, Belfast, Nottingham, Manchester, like you name it. So we're kind of all around the UK. So that'll be fun with these guys.
Can I get a special feature in the podcast? Or what?
You actually you mentioned this is Hunter Grimm.
What's his name?
Aaron.
Oh, cool.
Aaron. Yeah. Yes.
Do you have this unique, normal, need to question today? Like a question like how, not just how we get in Cirque du Soleil, but why you get in Cirque du Soleil?
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly what I want to know.
Oh shit! But you write it down before? Or you...
Oh no, this is all in my head.
So I just created a question for you. So now we are a business partner or what?
Business partner.
A business partner or what?
And like questioning.
Aaron, why would you want to do a podcast with a scumbag?
Yeah, for podcast. So we have something now, eh?
Good friends I have here.
Yeah.
Mate, do your thing. I'm gonna go to knock my friends out. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, take care. See you soon. Sorry. Very good.
That's hilarious.
Good guys. So now we travel with five guys, and we do a 4-man act. So we kind of like have a rotation, which is nice. But we have like our show is crazy right now. It's like, so it's Cirque du Soleil, so it's kind of like it's a circus show, but we're not circus artists. So we kind of like got a special act in it where we kind of made our own act, and yeah, we do one of the I would say almost the best act in the show. It's really intense. I mean, you've seen it a little bit, but there's still all the circus acts like you would think, like straps. We have a chair balancer. We have a whole bunch of like crazy acrobats that do amazing things. These guys are flying off poles, landing on like a fire mat, people catching them. This is just like, it never really gets old for us. Like watching it, like I've been watching it for 2.5 years, and I'm still like in awe sometimes.
Are all those like, so the Cirque du Soleil people, are they on ice too, or are you just the only one on ice?
No, so everyone's on ice. So we have like a lot of figure skaters and pair skaters in our show. And then we have the acrobats. But the acrobats use these like crampons so they can like actually like walk on ice with shoes. The straps act is actually like a mix between a guy on shoes and a girl on skates. So they do like a straps act together, mixing like skating and acrobats in the same kind of act, which is like the first time ever done. There's a girl who does trapeze on with ice skates on. She like transitions from the ice to the trapeze. It's like just never been done before, and like yeah, we did it.
That Cirque du Soleil stuff like is trippy because I always think like the core, how much you have to work out, practice, like the strength that it takes to do all that stuff and the coordination. It's intense. Like it's kind of the same in yours too, though. I don't know. Do you do any sort of like workout routine, or do you just do your sport?
No, for sure you got to work out. I mean, if you want to be the best, you got to keep training. Like me and like 3 guys have like a motto. Like they're like when we're training, we put it in our phone like as our background. Like put the guy and be like, what is this guy doing now? Because like he's in the gym, so like you better be in the gym. Nah, you got to be in the gym. I do a personal trainer because like I'm like not. I would say I'm not driven. I gotta do what I gotta do, but I just do the trainer. So like he's gonna be there. I know I have to be there. I can't let him down, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm in the gym usually before a competition. I'd probably be in the gym like to get into like pretty top shape. I'd probably need like 3-4 months. Doing 5 days a week.
Is it something that you really enjoy doing? You do on your off time too, or is it because? I mean, when you're in a sport like that, and a lot of people that like, it's just the sport. You go out and you roll around, or you go skate.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I was doing was I'm getting, you get paid to train at that point,
Yeah.
That's what it is, pretty much. Like my personal trainer, someone will cover, my sponsors will cover. So like they pay me to train, so I'll do it. You know, it's like a job, and essentially for me, anyways. That's how I think of it as, because for me, training, it's like I love doing activities, like physical sports is my thing. So I rather go out and play a sport, or like play tennis, or go to play basketball, or like, you know, do something sport, and that's how I get my workouts, rather than be in the gym and really put in like a huge work in the gym. But you need it, like it hits like so many different little muscles that you need to work on, and like cardio, and just so many things that you can do in the gym that you can't do outside. So yeah, three months I get in pretty top shape.
Well, so how long did you play organized hockey as a kid?
I played semi-pro hockey.
Okay, so you went so you're that far up into hockey. That is
I
like
need a junior AAA. But I was 16, 17, and I left after 17 because I felt like I was, and I got this opportunity with Crashed Ice to go race, and I was like, let me go try it and see. I really love like going fast, and I'm good at skating, and that was one of my top points. You know, in hockey I was fast, and you know, I didn't have the size at all, but I was skilled and I was fast, so that's what got me really high in hockey. But towards like making the NHL, it wasn't an option. So like I could have went maybe Europe, or could have went somewhere to play semi-pro hockey or pro hockey. But I got this opportunity to Crash Ice, so then I took it and it worked out. So then I left hockey, which kind of like I was so sad for like 2 years. I was like couldn't get over it.
Yeah, I mean, well, just a little bit that I played, and then I had a friend that like he's pretty decent. Like he was a pretty good hockey player. He played for the university here, and as a youth, he played all like he was super good. And just watching that guy work out and pour his like heart into stuff, and then playing hockey, you realize why there is no fat hockey players at a high level, because it's so exhausting. It is like I'm already like more of a thinner guy anyway, but I would be like a skeleton when I came home especially after a doubleheader.
But it's crazy how hockey is such a different cardio. Like you could be like the best, you can run a marathon and be like the best like cardio guy, and then you get on ice and you do 1 45-second shift, and you're so dead. You are absolutely dead. I could be in the best shape of my life, like running wise or that, but I haven't skated for 2 weeks, and that's it. Like you need to just play hockey 6 times a week to get your cardio up. There's no other way to do it. Like there's no cardio you can do in the world to improve skating cardio.
It's
so weird.
It's red line. It's just red line. As soon as you hit that, it's red line. Just there is no break. You don't get to jog. You don't get to take a moment. You got to go as hard as you can, and then you're off. And hard as you can, then you're off.
Exactly. I mean, we train that, and we do interval training, like do 45-second, 50-second workouts, do quick, like to get that what we need for hockey, and it still doesn't work as good as they would like. You know, like it's really a hockey thing. You just need to be on the ice.
Yeah, and doing your thing. Do you think that helped you with the Crashed Ice deal, like playing so much hockey at such a high level?
Yeah, I think like everyone asks that question too at Crashed Ice. Like when I get interviewed, they're like, "What's like the perfect Crashed Ice athlete? Like what's the mix combo?" But I think like it's like 100% you got to be from a hockey background, like at first. Like there's some skiers and that are really good, but you can still see they're not that great at their edge work. So I think like hockey first, do that edge work, and like you don't even have to be like a great skater, because like there's some bigger guys that like really excel on the longer downhill tracks because they have some weight to them. Like if you're 200 pounds going down a hill, you're gonna go faster than me. You know, I'm 130. I know 150, but you know I fluctuate. I'm pretty like weird with my weight. It's like 140, 150, 160 down to like 140. I 150. It's like, so like I'm pretty light. So I have to move my legs, and that's like one of the benefits. I have small little strides, so I can like stride in a lot of places where people can't, and that's what like excels me in some of the more technical courses. But the ones that are long, I really struggle with people skating, like gliding faster than me.
I imagine you like the turns too.
Yeah, I love the turns. I love the jumps, like the tricky jumps where like you need like some air awareness, because that's like another mix. Like I'd rather be hockey background first, but then you also need like some skiing to aerial background. And like I did like trampoline. I have a trampoline in my backyard as a kid. I did trampoline. I did this. I did skiing. I did hockey, and I was like excelled at kind of those three things, and that's what makes like a good. That's what I would say makes. And rollerblading was huge for me too. I did rollerblading all growing up, and I could do backflips on rollerblades. I could do like grinds on rollerblades. I could do like a lot of things on rollerblades. So it was like that was huge. Like pump tracks when they came out, that was like I kind of, I don't want to even say I started it because I don't want to be that guy. But I started training in rollerblades. I would say first for Crash Dice. When I got in the sport, that's how I trained. And I was like, it's so similar. Like I would do like bike jumps, like get bigger jumps, like than rollerblade jumps. So I do like the bike line and do it in rollerblades and like get like that was my training, and do pump tracks and do that. And that's how I train for it. And I'm like, that's the best training. Like skiing is good, but you can only ski in the winter, and our season's in the winter, so you can't really get skiing training in really unless you go to like Switzerland or like fly somewhere where you can get some ski during the summer. But so like yeah, rollerblade was huge, and on ice training was huge, just doing turns and edge work. But now rollerblading's huge, and now you'll see everyone who's in the top 10 is rollerblading all summer.
It's kind of crazy to listen to, like, you were semi-pro hockey player, and then you like got an opportunity, you took it, and it's led into a sport that didn't even exist. Like it's just kind of like made, like it wasn't big, and it's getting bigger. Like I'm seeing it all over, like you see commercials for it or whatever. But you just like have moved. It's shifted. Like you said, you were a little sad that you went. You had to leave hockey, but now it's where you're in the UK, just like on tour with a bunch of dudes hanging out.
Nah, it worked out for sure. Like I've been really fortunate for sure in my life to have like an opportunity like this and keep it going in a straight line upwards towards like an essential goal of being like what I'm doing now, kind of. But you're always going up. You're always looking for things to do. And but hockey was like my dream. Like if I didn't take that Crash Ice, I would probably be playing hockey in Europe somewhere, and have a different story. But then this worked, and then I did this, and then I took the Crash Ice, the Cirque du Soleil thing, and then it worked. And you never know what's like opportunities just keep arising when you keep on excelling. You keep on doing your best, and things will come up. I always believe that things will come up if you keep working at what you're doing presently and making it better, and everything just works out, I guess.
Well, I mean that it's kind of like for you. It seems like when you talk about it, you say it. It's just like second nature, but it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about mentally. You can't think about the bad. You have to think. You have to think about the positive. Focus on what you're doing and take the chance. Like just go. You just do it, and that sort of attitude, when that bleeds over into your professional life, you're like, hey, I want to be a hockey player. Oh wait, Crash Dice is here. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Oh wait, Cirque du Soleil? Right on. Let's try that out.
Yeah. So, Crash Dice was a thing. I made a decision to do Cirque du Soleil. It was more of a job. So, like, people live, like, I know acrobats and Cirque du Soleil artists, like, and I mean, not Cirque du Soleil artists, but circus artists in general, they live, like, contract to contract, and they take, like, 2-week contracts, 2-day contracts. They take 1-month contracts. They take 6-month contracts. But they always have work, and they live like that. They live working month to month, day to day, week to week, which me, I was like, man, if I don't know my source of income, it's kind of scary for me. I don't know about you, but I was like, man, we don't have many ice opportunities to make money like you do. Like you can do a handstand everywhere. It works out everywhere. You can do a handstand whenever. I can't jump ice ramps wherever. Let me tell you, it gets pretty hard to jump ice ramps in the summer.
Yeah, it is.
So we took a year contract with Cirque, so they were signing year contracts. So it made a difference with like, income steadiness, and you have a great job, and they treat you so well, and you travel the world. So I really took the opportunity, and I was like, Crash Dice was in a place where they were transitioning from, like I said, an event where they were paying you money and you were getting you know, nice prize money, but they were paying your hotel, they were paying your flight, you weren't having any expenses because they wanted to put on an event, so they would bring you to that event. And then after, when it became a sport, they stopped paying your hotel, they stopped paying your flight, they stopped paying this, and they're like, hey, get sponsors. So it became a job for me, and essentially to like, I didn't hire an agent my first year or 2 years, so I was like kind of my own agent. But it's hard to promote yourself being like, I want $5,000, $10,000 for a patch on my jersey for, you know, this reason. You're going to be on TV, you're going to do this, you're promoting yourself. It's kind of hard. And I did end up getting like a good amount of money, sponsors. I did end up doing well for myself, and it was fine. It worked out good, but it was just a hassle, and it was hard. And then like now me being here, I went to go do a race in Japan 2 weeks ago for Crash Ice, and I was like, I can't tell any sponsors like, hey, I'm going for one race, and you know, promote myself for one race. I have no chance to win the world championship, but I'm gonna go kind of have fun. Can you give me money to do this? You know, like it doesn't make any sense. So it's hard. If you're in the sport, you want to be all in, and you've got to try to make a living. But the majority of people, to be honest, are really paying to do the sport and having a good time. So I would say the top 5%, maybe even 3%, are making good money, and then the rest of people are really having fun and like either breaking even or, you know, paying a little kind of. So it kind of sucks. But if the sport goes in a better direction, like I'm saying, like they opened up for Monster to come in and do like a kind of like a battle, kind of make a team, make a Monster team, make a Red Bull team, make a Ferrari team, make a Rolex team, and race, you know, as a team, and have like or even by country, you know, there's something along those lines would be really cool, I think.
Dude, the Monster idea, that would make it just like Supercross on ice.
Yeah, no, but like they've let Monster into like a lot of the sports, like, you know, like Red Bull Rampage. Like if the biker has a Monster sponsor, they let him go on Red Bull Rampage. You know, it's like not like Red Bull is out of the sport. They're not even calling it Red Bull Crash Ice anymore. They're calling it Ice Cross Downhill. So Red Bull is a little sponsor, but they should be open to doing.
It's a better idea. It's a better idea to have it, because I mean that's what makes. I love watching Supercross. Never rode a dirt I rode a dirt bike.
Love it. Yeah.
It's awesome.
No,
yeah.
It's awesome. It's until you like, if you ever have you rode a dirt bike?
Yeah.
How hard it is to ride a dirt bike?
Yep.
It isn't just like clutching up and down. Like I'm like, they jump so far. Like I've seen it live once, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. When you see them fly it, like they on the throttle, they fly so far. You're like, it doesn't make sense.
Nope. Like, and they go from gear to gear. They go from gear to gear. They're floating around like they're so. It's crazy with the shape. Oh my God!
It's like such a skill. That's like it's like it blows my mind. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've also crashed a dirt bike because I'm not that great at driving one, but I think that I maybe want to try some cool stuff that I see, and then I end up like sliding on the road or crashing in the dirt real hard. And
yeah, you know what it was for me? That's what it was. I've kind of like came close to crashing. I've like fallen off, but it wasn't crash. It wasn't too hard, but I think it's like even like for me, like downhill mountain biking, dirt bike, all those like sports that like I don't really do, but I do them. I think it's like you're good until you fall. Like you have the confidence and like you get so good, you excel so fast until you fall for the first time and like really fall, and then it's like, wow, you can actually hurt yourself in this. Never mind, I don't want to do this anymore. Like it becomes like your worst nightmare. You're like, oh, I was doing so well. I had no falls. It's so easy. Nope, it's not.
So
go over the handlebars.
You downhill mountain bike too?
Yeah, I did a couple of years like in Switzerland when I was training for Crash Ice. This guy Derek Wedge, he was also like we called him the Rasta Rocket. He was like a Rasta from Switzerland, and he raced because he was a skier, professional skier, and he ice skated as a kid, played hockey, and yeah, he was like he was world champion one year. I think it was like 2013, world champion, and he invited us all the time to his house to do like, we called it an extreme camp. So we would do like a week or two in Switzerland, and we would do like a couple days downhill mountain biking, a couple days skiing in the Alps, and then a couple days like wakeboarding and wake surfing. And that was our like training. And then we would hit like every skate park next to Switzerland or France or around there for like 2 weeks. So that's what we would do for 2 weeks. We called it an extreme camp, and it was like the best time ever. And you would excel. Like, like 4 of the best 10 riders were at this thing. Yeah.
That stuff is insane.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. Like I always tell a story. Like I used to BMX dirt jump a little, and I'm like, man, those guys are just guys who can't like do this BMX stuff. They're not as cool doing the flips. Then I did it once in Colorado, like, and just on a small level, but downhill. And I went, I'm lucky to be alive. I didn't have a helmet on, and I'm flying, and I had to hit like spots, or I was just going to be dead. And I'm going,
either you have to go for it or you just don't.
Dude, and from then on, I was like, no, those guys are way crazier than I ever thought I was.
Yeah, there's no half-assing downhill mountain. My hands were like locked like a crab because I was on the brakes. I was on the brakes so much. Like, we were going down hills where like you have to brake nonstop. Like, you do not get off the brakes. People don't understand that. Like, you don't let your bike just go, else it goes way too fast. Like, you have to be on your brakes, like nonstop. It's insane how people don't understand that. My hands were like locked like this for like 3 days, like just like it was a crab. Couldn't move my hand. I was like, this is insane. I've never seen it. I didn't leave the brakes for longer than 10 seconds.
That's nuts.
10 seconds is actually huge. Never mind. Let's like 5 seconds.
It's hard to believe that you can see guys going that fast. Like, next time everybody hears this, watch the video of a guy doing downhill mountain biking and then realize what he just said. That's how fast they're going while holding the brakes.
And if you watch like the World Cup of mountain biking, like they not only like let off the brake like the whole run, they're pedaling. Like, they gain more speed, you know? Like, as I was talking before, like with the crash ice, the mentality of these guys, we like excelled in crash ice because we had that mentality, was off the brakes, skate and gain more speed and take quicker lines and do this and take this jump this way, and not like people would like, there would be like a roller section and people would roll it, and I'd be like, no, if you gain speed before and you jump all of them, it's faster, or this way. Like, and we just like really like, we would train together in the top 10, and like everyone would get better so fast, and we like broke apart from the group. And these guys, like I said, are just off the brakes completely, taking like crazy lines. If you see like in mountain biking, like a lot of the lines are like similar, like they all take the same kind of route down the hill because that's like the optimal route for like not like dying pretty much. But then you'll see like the top 3 or 4 guys like take a crazy route over these like jagged rocks, and they'll be like 2 seconds ahead. But in racing, it's like 2 seconds is absurd how far you are ahead of these people. And yeah, they just like save this so much time and pedal. And they're like, what are you pedaling for? You're already going fast enough. Like, it's like this really crazy to watch them excel like that.
But it's the same. It's the same thing in like hockey too, where if you wanted to be good, like if you really wanted to excel at this, like it's your dream, you have to go play a faster game. You have to go you have to go play with those people and learn exactly what they're doing.
Oh, for sure. If you put a bad skater, a bad person with good guys, and he's playing 2-3 times a week, like you said you do, you literally get so much better. If you were to play, like, if I was to go now and play with some of my, in like a garage league pickup, I mean, I haven't played in a while, but if I was at the caliber I was at, then you just stoop down to their level. You start not being able to skate. Because I mean, you slow up for people, you wait for people, you just get down to their level, and then you become worse. So, like you said, yeah, if you're playing with better people, you're getting like so much better.
Yeah, I mean, it really does make a difference. And so, like, getting over, like, for people that have trouble with that, like getting over that fear of wanting to just jump in there with all these, like, you're the one outlier, you're the one that can't skate that fast, you're the one that, I mean, I don't care what it is, maybe you're the only guy that doesn't know this thing at work, and everybody else knows it. You have to jump in that group and learn it.
Yeah, there's no shame in not knowing, like, or not. You're getting into it. Everyone was there. Everyone's been there. Even if it was for a little bit, everyone's been to that spot. It's like I started like surfing a lot, and
awesome.
We went like on a couple surf trips, and I was like in the water with pretty good surfers. Like we were on a trip, and we were like Shane Dorian. He's like a pro big wave surfer, and we were with him and his little kid. Like he has a kid, 13 years old, Jackson Dorian, pro surfer, like already pro at 13, sponsored by Billabong. He was like kicking our ass in the water, like absolutely insane. And like you go out with these guys and you get better surfing with them, but like it's so intimidating. Like I'm so, I'm a good surfer to my friends, but I'm not a good surfer in the surf world. Like I'm never going there. So like I do it for fun, and they know that. And I'm an athlete, so like we do everything. Like if you're an athlete, I feel like you can pick up darts, you can pick up bowling, you can pick up pool, and we all do pretty good at it because we're athletes. But surfing's like another thing in itself. It's so crazy and it's so hard and it's so rewarding when you get a good wave. Yeah, that was crazy. So like you said, if you are nervous, that was the one time I was like nervous going in an atmosphere where I'm like, I don't want to even catch a wave, like, because I just don't want to embarrass myself, or like there's like a big priority in the water where it's like if you cut a guy off, you're in trouble, kind of thing. I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
And that's scary if you cut one of those dudes off. Like I can't even imagine you cut like Shane Dorian off.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
That's that's insane that you were in, like, this whole process has led you to surf, like you got to surf with Shane Dorian.
Oh yeah, no, we booked a surf trip and he happened to be at this surf spot. It was Punta Caneo Resorts. It was like a crazy surf location. Like you get your like a guide for the week that shows you all the crazy surf spots. He packs you lunch. We had like it was like really insane for like a week of surfing.
And then he just happens to be there, and so you're surfing there and meet Shane Dorian.
He just happened to be there with his son, I think his brother-in-law, and like three other kids, like they call them Groms. They're like little surf kids that like rip it up, like four of them, like just insane surfers at 13 years old. I think they're like 13, 14. Like just like insane, doing airs. Like it was like, what the hell is happening in the world? That's what I mean about when I talked about like 13, 14, 15 in extreme sports being insane, because they just watch so many videos and they have the access to the water, or they have the access to the ice, they have access to that. You see hockey players like insane right now at that age, or like any sport right now. Scooter kids, man. Scooter, BMX, rollerblade, they're all like 13, 14, 15 doing double flares, double backflip. Double backflips have been like easy in the last 2 years. It's become easy to do a double backflip on anything.
Yep.
It's pretty insane. I did a quad cork in the snowboarding. I think it was it was like the U.S. Open or something. It just happened. Where was it? Burton U.S. Open. A quad cork. I was like, how do you even see after this sport?
It's nuts.
You are. It's all white. Like, no.
That's like that. I forgot who the documentary is on. The kid who hit his head, who was trying, like he was there with Shaun White. Oh, man, I always have these brain farts where I lose the name of what I'm trying to think. The snowboarder. It's a documentary on Netflix.
It was a French kid? Or was it?
No, I don't think he was a French kid. He was, and it was right as snowboarding's going to the Olympics, and he's trying this trick, and he falls and hits his head, and he's in, like, he loses, like.
I remember this. I remember the story because I remember that, like, people said, like, there were stories about, like, Shaun White would have lost to this kid.
Yeah. So this guy, that happens to him, right? And this is a hard trick. Like, Shaun White's falling on it. Nobody can do it. Now they're doing it all over the place. Like, it's like a warm-up run.
Yeah. Hey, Frank, what? It's a full house over here.
Dude, I love it. It's like taking me back to like when I was younger. This is like the best, man. It's the best
It's like
time.
traveling the world with all your buddies, and we actually like are staying at our buddy's apartment in the UK because he was on our show and he transferred to another show, and there just happened to be in the UK. And this guy's a part of like tourist and travel, so he deals with all the rooms. So he has a apartment with spare beds. I was like, this is perfect.
Dude, it's so much fun. Like, that's
Yeah.
one thing that's like, and I mean, I don't miss anything. It's like one of those experiences that I'm glad I had is to be able to do like stuff similar to that and just enjoy. Like, it's such a cool thing to do. Like, and that's why I say you pursued this stuff in your life and just kept going and kept taking all these different avenues to where you're doing something like this for work. Like, people are paying you, like, you're getting paid to go do this, and that right there is that's what life's all about.
No, for sure. I always tell people like that's the best thing to do is, I mean, like I said, I got like, you're right. I took the paths and it turned out to be like a great path that I took, and it happened. You know, I've been very fortunate and kept working hard, and I got here. But really, just like, yeah, just so so fortunate. Really, what I'm doing now is like beyond a dream. Like, I tell people all the time, like, what we do isn't really work. Like, we do, like, sometimes we do a lot of shows in a week and it's a hard week, but like the majority of the time we're having fun at trainings, we're doing shows, like we're always having fun. New city every week, you know, you're with your best friends, and yeah, sometimes it's definitely not work. It's definitely, we're having fun.
I mean, if you took this as a kid, like, and you take it to, like, I don't know how your parents were, but like you take it to your parents and go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and not play hockey for a living, but I'm just going to go and jump around on my ice skates, and I'm going to make money doing it and travel the world, okay?
I told my dad when I got offered the contract for Cirque du Soleil, we used to go watch shows as a kids, like Cirque du Soleil come to Montreal like all the time because that's where it was based out of. So we would go watch shows all the time, and like that's how, like, I guess I got my, like, Dad, I want a trampoline, you know, Dad, I want this, you know. So we would like have a trampoline, and me and my brother would be monkeys on the trampoline, jumping out of like our second balcony to the trampoline, doing crazy, you know, flips and stuff. And we would watch Cirque du Soleil, but we were gonna pursue like gymnastics, and they took us to the gym, and we didn't like the structure of it and stuff, so we never really pursued it. And we were already doing hockey, we were already doing soccer, we were already doing this many sports, tennis. Like, we had so many sports where at a certain age, obviously, you have to cut down. You can't do every sport, especially if you want to go to a high level. So we kind of like cut this sport. As we got older, cut this sport. Okay, you can't do this anymore. And then it was hockey at the end, you know, and it was like, yeah, you got to do one sport 7 days a week, and that's all you're gonna do. But no, I can't. I don't regret it, obviously. But it worked out in the end, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of insane that, like, it's just insane. Like, if you set it out, like, if I know how it would be because of how much fun. Like, I lived and breathed rollerblading, action sports in general. Like, when I rode my bike, I was living and breathing, and I needed something like that. Like, I loved it. I just wanted to be out there doing it. That's all I wanted to do. It's all I thought about. And then, so like that sort of feeling is in there. I remember my dad several times saying, "There's no way you can ever make money off of doing this thing. Like, this is just a thing, you know." And not to his fault at all. Like, he would just say that, like, "Hey, there's no way you can make money." But now I look at some of my friends that have gone on and not maybe rollerblading for money, but the same thing you're doing is like where it led to an avenue that let them do what they really like to do for work.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of people that, like, I mean, money isn't everything in life. There's no way, like, I don't believe in that at all. You know, money is fortunate to have, and it works out that it's nice to have, and you can do, like, it gives you, like, liberty to do what you want. You know, you don't have to, it's one less thing to worry about in life kind of thing. For me anyways, I don't need to have a substantial amount of money to do what I love. You know, if I can say, like, I'm doing what I love and it's good and no problems, no headaches, we're good to go. But now you're right. There's, like I said, there's some people doing crash tests and they love to do it and they pay to do it. So they have, like, their job as a fireman, they take the 2 weeks off or 3 weeks off, they bank their hours, to do what they love to do, and some people will pay to do it. But also, there's the people who are like us. We were trying to make money and try to either make a career out of it because we loved it so much and we were good at it. So like, let's try to make a career out of it if we could. Get the most sponsorship money, get the most prize money we could get, and then they're like you said, rollerblading, huge sport, and the money's just not there. You know, like we have pros that are here. Like I think we have 2 pros right here now. Like Kevin was a pro in rollerblade, like on the company Rollerblade Pro, got his own pro wheel, his own pro skated thing, and like he literally. He made good money, but not like anywhere like good money. What I mean, like not anywhere great money. Like it was money to live his life, travel and do what he did. And then like some people would make less money and make not as much and not have their own pro stuff, but still live that same life. I mean, they went on tours like 12 people in a van, go shoot in this country, like city by city in the U.S. and no one's really making money. And it's just like, you're living life.
Yeah, and they're super happy.
And they're happy. No, I am a happy living life. Like it's super sick opportunity, and like the money's a bonus, and the how they treat us is like a huge bonus. But other than that, like we're living life, traveling, and eating good, and having parties, having fun. You know, everything. It's working, so it's been good.
Awesome, man. Well, let everybody know where they can find out like any of the information on the stuff you have going on, like websites, social media stuff, whatever you want to plug it. Yeah, let them know where they can find it.
You know, it's crazy. Like I'm trying to get more into a bigger social media thing. I'm on Instagram. I'm DeanM21. I post a lot of good stories about like traveling and stuff like that whenever I can. I post my photos and like stuff, like try to keep it up to date as possible. But you can check us out. So like if you want to follow the show Crystal, it's like you can go on Cirque du Soleil and you can get like our show is called Crystal. So Cirque du Soleil and on Crystal, and the dates will be all there. And if you come out to a show, don't be afraid to message me and tell me you're coming, and we could do a backstage tour or anything like that. That's always an option for sure. And then for Crash Ice, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it the rest of this year. I was going to do one more race in Russia, but I don't think I'm doing that because of work and because of other logistic stuff. But I hope to do it like the next year and try to get back in the sport because I really missed it. I went on the track in Japan and I really, really missed the speed, really missed the adversity because we don't have that in Cirque. You know, we're doing a show for the public and we're all working together rather than competing. So I really missed that fight in the races. But I came back. I qualified 4th in time trials out of like 200 people in Japan, and ended up coming 9th in the race. But it was a good weekend, and saw all my friends, and did better than I was kind of expecting coming back after 2 years off, not competing, because that's really a huge thing is like the fight. Like I said, like you can not play hockey for a while, and then you go to garage league and you're not really have that fight to win anymore. But if you start playing a little competitive, and then you get that fight to win, and no one's ever. I hated the people who are like, oh, it's just a game. No, it's not just a game. we're gonna win. Like if you're not on the same page as me, then you're not on my team.
I love that right there. That's the way I am with everything. I love competition. So
there's no just a game. Like me and my brother, like we've heard people say that, like, oh, I'm not trying. Yes, you were we're trying. I just need to. Like, yes, you were. We're always trying. Like, don't give me that.
Yes. It's awesome.
It was awesome. It was awesome to have me on the podcast.
Oh, man. Thank you so much. This is a blast for me, for sure. I really appreciate it, man. And best of luck to everything that you have going on.
For sure, man. Keep in touch, and whenever, like, I can give you my schedule. I'm in the States. I'm in the Europe. I'm kind of everywhere. I have breaks. So if anytime we can get to meet up and come see a show or do something like that, for sure, it would be great.
It would be awesome, man. If you're in Texas, you're over here, you come through, I'll definitely be paying attention.
Hunter Grimm's in Texas, so I'm sure I'll probably meet up with him. Or my cousin lives in Austin, so we'll for sure make a trip down somewhere and figure it out.
Sweet, man. Sweet. Well, thanks for doing this, man.
Hey, nice talking to you.